Do y'all want to hear something insane? Well, really not insane because we can definitely see this happening. In November of 2015, 65 international policymakers, academics, business, and thought leaders gathered at the World Wildlife Fund's headquarters in Washington, D.C. Listen to this, to play a game of how the world would respond to a future food crisis. Food chain reaction crisis simulation ends with global carbon tax. I am not joking. The game took the players from the year 2020 to 2030. What a coincidence, right? As it was projected, the decade brought two major food crises, with prices approaching 400% of the long-term average. A raft of climate-related extreme weather events, governments toppling in Pakistan and Ukraine, and famine and refugee crisis in Bangladesh, Myanmar, Chad, and Sudan. Over 2 days, the players divided into teams for Africa, Brazil, China, the EU, India, and US. International businesses and investors and multilateral institutions crafted their policy responses as delegations engaged in intensive negotiations. Cooperation mostly won the day over the short-term individual advantage. Teams pledged to build international information networks and early warning systems on hunger and crops together, invest jointly in smart agricultural technology, and build up global food stocks as a buffer against climate shocks. Listen to this now. In the face of a steep price spike, with looming global food shortages in 2022, the EU at one point suspended its environmental rules for agriculture and introduced a tax on meat. Both measures were quickly reversed in 2025 as harvest went back to normal and tensions eased in the hypothetical universe. The most eye-catching result, however, was a deal between the US, the EU, India, and China, standing in for the top 20 greenhouse gas emitters, to institute a global carbon tax and cap CO2 emissions in 2030. You cannot make this up. Almost like it was planned. The game was built over the course of months with maximal realism in mind. The scenario was extrapolated from events that have actually occurred in the real world, such as the food crisis of 2008, 2009, or the recent string of hottest years and months on record. Again, you can't make this stuff up. It's a game to them. It was an actual game that came true and is still coming true. Share this. Maybe it'll wake somebody up.